So, last week's Torah portion was so good. We ended with that story where Joseph was with his 11 brothers. They didn't know who he was. He looked Egyptian, he sounded Egyptian, and he sent everybody out of the room, and he revealed himself to his brothers, and he said, "It's me. I'm your brother, Joseph." What a story. And I think a story with so much prophetic significance that brings us to this week's Torah portion, Vayechi. And it's Genesis 47:28 through 50, verse 26, the end of Genesis. And the Haftarah is 1 Kings 2, verses 1 through 12. And the New Covenant portion is 1 Peter 1, verses 3 through 9. So, here we are in Genesis 47. I want to start in verse 27. Now, Israel, also known as Jacob, Yaakov, before God changed his name, he lived in the land of Egypt, in Goshen, and they acquired property in it, and they were fruitful and became very numerous. Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the length of Yaakov's life was 147 years. And when the time for Israel to die drew near, he called his son Joseph, and he said to him, "Please, if I have found favor in your sight, place now your hand under my thigh and deal with me in kindness and faithfulness. Please do not bury me in Egypt. But when I lie down with my fathers, you shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." He said, "Swear to me." So he swore to him. And then Israel bowed in worship at the head of his bed. In chapter 48, now it came about after these things that Joseph was told, "Behold, your father is sick." So he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him. Moving down to verse 8 in chapter 48. When Israel saw Joseph's sons, he said, Who are these? Joseph said to his father, "They are my sons whom God has given me here." So he said, "Bring them to me, please, that I may bless them." Now the eyes of Israel were so dim from age that he could not see. And then Joseph brought them close to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, "I never expected to see your face, and behold, God has let me see your children as well." And then Joseph took them from his knees and bowed with his face to the ground. Joseph took both of them, Ephraim with his right hand toward Israel's left, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Israel's right, and brought them close to him. But Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on the head of Ephraim, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, crossing his hands, although Manasseh was the firstborn. He blessed Joseph, and he said, "The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and may my name live on in them, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak, and may they grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth." When Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on Ephraim's head, it displeased him. And he grasped his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Place your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He also will become a people, and he also will be great. However, his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his shall become a multitude of nations." And he blessed them that day, saying, "By you Israel will pronounce blessing, saying, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." And thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Moving on to Genesis chapter 49, Jacob summoned his sons and said, "Assemble yourselves, that I may tell you what will befall you in the days to come." So Jacob realizes that his days are coming to an end. He calls his sons and he wants to bless them. He wants to really prophesy over them and tell them what is coming. So he does that with each one of his sons. But the one that I really want to focus on is this messianic prophecy that we have here in Genesis chapter 49, verse 10. And here is Jacob, Israel, and he is blessing his son Judah. So this prophecy is over Judah, and it says, "The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people." And this is the foreshadow of the fact that the Messiah was going to come from Judah. He continued and he blessed each one of his sons. And when we get to the end of chapter 49, in verse 28, it says, "All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is what their father said to them when he blessed them. He blessed them, every one with the blessing appropriate to him." I think that's a beautiful phrase, to be blessed with the blessing that is appropriate to us. So, in verse 33, Jacob finished charging his sons. He drew his feet into the bed and breathed his last, and he was gathered to his people. That beautiful phrase, gathered to his people. So he didn't just die and that was the end of it. But having put his trust in the God of Abraham and Isaac and himself, Jacob, he drew his feet up and he breathed his last, and he was gathered to his people who were already with the Lord. In chapter 50 of Genesis, Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. And they wept over him for 70 days. In chapter 50, verse 12, it says, "Thus his sons did as he had charged them, for his sons carried him to the land of Canaan, and they buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, which Abraham had brought along with the field for burial site from Ephraim the Hittite. After he buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brothers, and all who had gone up with him to bury his fathers." Verse 15, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, so what do you think? They thought, now Abba's not around to protect us. They said, "What if Joseph bears a grudge against us and pays us back in full for all the wrong that we did to him?" So they sent a message to Joseph saying, "Your father charged before he died, saying, 'Thus you shall say to Joseph, please forgive, I beg you, the transgression of your brothers and their sin, for they did you wrong. And now please forgive the transgression of the servants of the God of your father.' And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And then his brothers also came and they fell down before him. They humbled themselves and they said, 'Behold, we are your servants.' But Joseph said to them, 'Do not be afraid, for am I in God's place? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring about the present result, to preserve many people alive. So therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones.' So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them." And once again, what a beautiful phrase. And it also applies to us today that when the enemy does something evil against us, God can use those things for good and even for the salvation of other people. Going on in verse 22 of chapter 50, Joseph stayed in Egypt, he and his father's house, and Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw the third generation of Ephraim's sons. Also the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were born on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brothers, "I'm about to die, but God will surely take care of you and bring you up from this land to the land which he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob." And so we know that happened with the Exodus, but it took many, many years before that came to pass. In verse 25, then Joseph made the sons of Israel swear, saying, God will surely take care of you, and you shall carry my bones up from here. So Joseph died at the age of 110 years, and he was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt. And we know that so many years later, when the children of Israel were in slavery in Egypt and they were crying out to God to deliver them, when God finally did it in that great Exodus, we know they did not forget this oath to Joseph, and they took up his bones back to Israel with them. I bless you today. Hope you have a wonderful day. Shalom.